to go.
Hello, you're listening and or watching the Nerd Edification Hour. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Jeremy.
And in today's show, we're going to have, it's going to be a shorter show today. I know we're just getting back after our break. Rachel's not here. She's kind of busy, but she'll be coming back to the show eventually, hopefully. She's gone. She's not gone. She's not gone.
We had to shift days and it messed up everybody.
We had to shift days. It's messed up.
That's my fault.
Everybody's schedule. It's all Jeremy's fault. Blame him. But we'll have one little bit of entertainment news, which I guess also kind of counts as video game news in the same thing because it's. We'll get to that in a minute, and then your Nintendo news, and we'll be talking about the NX some more probably.
We'll drop in on that one.
A bunch of Pokemon news came out, and then of course we'll have your nerd vocab, and then we'll have the video game news, and after that we'll have our technology news.
A lot of technology news.
Yep, there's a good bit of it. Some very weird stuff going on in the web world and the robots and everything like that. It's all crazy.
We've missed the fun weird stuff since breaks.
Yeah, it's there's something going on in the studio, so our table isn't here. This isn't going to be a thing.
Yeah,
so
enjoy my legs while you can. My legs.
So, Jeremy, what's going on in the movie universe?
So this is inevitable and kind of terrifying is the fact that Monster Hunter is coming to Hollywood. The movie is in production. Capcom announced at the Tokyo Game Show of this year, 2016. I don't know how this is going to go. I keep thinking of like all these other movies with creatures that are like ones from Monster Hunter and how corny they can be.
I can tell you how it's going to go. It's going to be 100 hours long. You're going to fight the same monster about 20 times just to get that one plate.
The movie's not good unless you bring friends. So,
right.
That's literally how it works.
You have to bring friends. You have to go online. So,
yeah, I mean, technically, most people they'll go out and eat like before or after seeing a movie. So, are they going to have to go eat to prep, get their skills, go see the film in a group, and then when they get back, someone's skinned and they just wear them. So, people's house pets are in danger.
It's going to be like Generations. It's going to be fondue. They have
to yeah, that was a weird choice. They did fondue.
You have to bring your cats as well.
They're your companion.
Yeah,
that's the rule. You can go with up to 3 friends, 4 total, or one person you bring 2 cats.
Or you go with 2 people and then each one brings
one cat. Yeah,
yeah.
So my cats would be jealous. Have to choose.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think it's only Tokyo Game Show is in Tokyo, so it might just be in Japan only. But
well, I mean, it can go anywhere. My thing is it going to be live action? Because they like to do that, or is this going to be animated, which I think would work a lot better? Or
well, they've had some kind of weird Monster Hunter anime, but that one's just all we want to talk about it. It's weird. It's but Stories is coming out soon, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Still no U.S. release date.
Yeah, it's weird.
I want that game.
They've told us it's.
I want the amiibos. They're huge.
All right. Moving on to Nintendo news, a bunch of Pokemon news before we get to the NX part. Pokemon Generations anime is a thing, and we'll cover all the video game it'll be set in the kind of video game universe as we know it. So far, as of today, they've released 2.
Oh, they have.
Yeah, they've already released the first 2 episodes.
I was waiting for a compilation. I'm like, oh, these look interesting. I'll have to watch them when they come out.
No,
apparently
they're bite-sized adventures. Yeah. They're about 3 to 5 minutes long, so not long at all.
They're like little background tales from each generation, each one that they're doing.
Pretty much. The first, I don't want to, because they're so short. I don't want to spoil it, but it's like
you mentioned the name. We're already halfway through.
Well, the first one's kind of just like, hey, it's like a title sequence almost. It's like it's like a 3-minute title sequence. It's kind of cool.
That's neat. I'll have to see it.
Pikachu looks weird, though.
Are they going back to Fat Pikachu?
No.
Okay.
It's some weird hybrid of like... It's
fat
like
Pikachu's
a skinny
awesome.
Fat Pikachu. Not even like Ash Pikachu.
It's like horrible skinny body.
Some
like
weird...
oversized head trying to keep it up. Kill me.
And the second one kind of focuses on Looker.
Okay.
They don't necessarily state that for some reason. I don't know why. I guess you have to really be familiar with the games in order to actually know who's who.
And once these are done, I wonder if they'll put them out like a set you can buy or something, like a Blu-ray, and that might have extra stuff on it. But
probably
they like to do those.
The animation's kind of cool. like the attacks and everything, and the Pokemon themselves look pretty good. Otherwise, I mean, they're free. It's something interesting. Like, if you're a Pokemon fan, I'd say go ahead and watch it. The first one's kind of cool. It goes to like all the different regions, stuff like that.
All right. What are the Pokemon so far?
But if I say anything else, it's like spoiling everything. So I'm just not gonna say much else. So, Pokemon Sun and Moon is coming around the corner,
which I'm actually excited for.
Yeah, they've unleashed some details, like they're going to be set 12 hours apart. So if you have Moon during the day, it's going to be night, and during the nighttime it'll be day. So
which is what I'll have.
Day for me.
Yeah,
because I'm getting Moon.
Me too.
But other than that, there's going to be these Ultra Beast, which a lot of people are like. They don't look like Pokemon. I just have to facepalm because not dip. That's what the purpose is.
A pile of trash, a candle, and 3 scoops of ice cream can be Pokemon.
Well,
anything can be Pokemon.
These Ultra Beasts are kind of based off real animals.
Okay.
So like real animals from our world are kind of based off of that. Like there's this there's a UBO2 absorption. They're giving all these sort of weird names to these things. Like there's Type Null, which is that Chimera Pokemon.
Which another friend of mine, it's a Pokemon nut, even beyond I think even you. It's crazy.
It's
he's thinking it's like a failed clone of one of the other ones because a lot of how it looks and what it has on.
There's a theory going around that Pokemon Sun and Moon is kind of based around alchemy. So having a Chimera in there kind of does make sense. Like because it looks like a whole bunch of Pokemon put together. And then it even has like the ring of, looks like it has kind of Arceus symbol around its neck. So it's like, the alchemy thing might actually be a thing because that's kind of weird, you know?
That whole game is just, everything they've been showing about it actually finally gets me a little bit interested, like the Alola versions of a lot of the. Some of those are just hilariously odd, like the Ice Sandshrew, and you've got.
I'm digging it.
You've got the Dark Eradicate. With a huge cheeks, like it's just eating other. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, I like the
the
Executor. It's so funny.
The memes from that have been
it's
just wrong.
Yeah, Unbearable, is that what it is? The one that hugs you to death. I saw a meme with like Twitter. He's got his head along 3 photos on Twitter, and then the middle one it has Unbearable. He's like snapping a log. So as he's snapping his neck. But going back to UBO2 absorption, basically these are the Ultra Beasts that are coming out of portals and kind of invading the land of Alola, or the land of Pokemon as well. And the first one that was revealed was kind of jellyfish, and it kind of looked like one of the characters in the game. So a lot of people are saying, "Oh, like the professor's assistant, that girl looks like." The Ultra Beast a lot because it's just like a jellyfish and it looks like it has a hat. But the Ultra Beasts are based off of real creatures and they're coming in, and we don't know the full story behind it. And there are some complaints from people saying, "Oh, does it look like Pokemon?" Like, well, no, Dip, because they're not. They're something different.
It's going to be interesting.
But Absorption is like a super buff red mosquito humanoid-like creature that will appear in Pokemon Sun.
That's weird.
It looks weird. And then you have UBO2 Beauty, and it's another kind of bug-like creature. It's really thin. It's like a lady. And it'll appear in Pokemon Moon. So I
guess that's what we're going to see. So my kids will have to find the weird red mosquito person.
There's no confirmation if you can catch these things or not. I doubt it because they're not Pokemon unless Pokeballs work on anything.
In that case, why hasn't somebody just missed and hit someone and had like a horrible Pokemon accident? And like, what happened to Billy? He's in the ball.
I control him now. It's mine.
And then parents should just do that to their kids. I choose you to finally go do the dishes. Oh,
it was super effective. So, Jeremy, now that we're done with the Pokemon news, what's going on with the NX rumor stuff this time around?
Yeah, there's been some articles recently, specifically on Forbes, talking about that they're pretty well convinced the NX is being delayed, if not worse. But because it's gotten to the point, Nintendo's had months now. It's been, the system's supposed to come out, according to them, in March of next year. So we have less than 6 months now. We don't know the name of the system. We haven't seen it. We don't know what it does. We don't know what kind of games. We only know like a handful of games are going to be on it, but we don't know anything about it. And they've pretty much dropped every opportunity they had to do it. They're not coming to Tokyo Game Show, which is going on right now, where they could actually have a stage show and show it off. They put more effort into Mario Run and them showing up at the iOS and Apple conference with Miyamoto and Bill Trinen. They actually showed up and showed that off and talked and everything. Not a peep about NX. And we're like, okay, you're willing to go to other people's conventions and say things. You want to do all this other stuff. But they won't say anything about the NX. And they won't respond even with a Forbes article and all this other stuff too, denying or even saying anything that the system's not canceled or delayed. And people are starting to kind of be concerned about that because it's starting to look more like they're going to finish with Wii U and either push this thing back possibly a year or more, or they may be pulling a Sega, kind of hinting towards, the NX may just be getting scrapped and they may be pushing more towards like iOS or other stuff and doing more third party, which is not good.
Yeah, no, unless...
Because they're pushing more and more for their stuff to be on other things. I mean...
I still couldn't imagine Nintendo games on, say, like an Xbox or PlayStation. PlayStation, I think, would be believable, but even then, PlayStation's kind of having a hard time on its own right now. Even though it is PS4 is probably the most successful console out of the three, but it just... I don't know, Sega's still kind of dealing with things like, there's like, yeah, here's the PS4 Pro, but we're going to run it 4K, but there's still no 60 frames per second.
Oh, you're talking about Sony having trouble. You said Sega.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, there's all kinds of issues going with that. This is more of the fact that Nintendo has been, everyone, at first they were kind of quiet and everyone's like, oh, it's a mystery, and you were on, on our show, we did an episode of the Zen's Path, the Zen's Path podcast, and we talked about it to kind of see what information we had and what we knew. Excuse me. We were able to get, a pretty good conversation going around it, but all of it was rumor and hearsay, and Nintendo hasn't actually come out and said anything. They skipped E3, which would have been a perfect time to show something. They keep saying they're so convinced not to say anything because people will take their idea, but if no one has an idea of what they're doing, it doesn't matter. It might as well not exist.
Like, I think you're pretty safe right now because that just...
Yeah, it's like we know, like Microsoft with the Scorpio, we know basically what it is. They gave us some tech specs and things like that. We can judge about what it's going to be if we want to wait. Sony, they finally unveiled everything for the Pro, so we know what that's going to be. If you're going to choose which one you're going to get within the next couple of months, or if you're going to wait and do something else, all you know is, oh, cool, it's called an NX. That's all I know. You're going to go for one of the ones you know something about, whether you're going to wait or you're going to buy now. But if you have nothing in the conversation, you're just not part of it. And they're so quiet, it's hurting them at this point. People are getting really frustrated with it. I mean, the only good news that's really come out of it recently, at least the Paper Mario looks really good. So,
yeah. Well,
but that's one of the last Wii U games we're going to be getting.
Yeah, Paper Mario and Breath of the Wild. Those are like probably the last two Wii U games that we're going to get.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if they delay the system, if they're going to delay Breath of the Wild too. I
really would hope not, but more than likely that probably could be the case because they really want to sell the NX and so they want to push it. It's like, here's this huge, ambitious game that you could literally play probably for the rest of your life and not be able to find every single thing in it.
Well, I mean, they kept pushing for the March release date for the NX, but they've been very vague on when Zelda's coming out. They will not confirm it's actually a launch title. But of course, they won't confirm anything right now, so what do we know? That's the problem. I mean, it's kind of frustrating for people. I'm getting very annoyed with Nintendo at this point.
I think that's been building up in you for a while, since about 2 years ago, something like that. 2 years ago, and
I'm getting
they
frustrated
really started
with it.
just going down.
Well, I know you're happy with the Metroid stuff, like the Nintendo Direct, where they completely ignored the Metroid anniversary, but they celebrated Sonic.
Thing is, they celebrated Zelda.
Celebrated Zelda. They mentioned Sonic and said nothing about Metroid.
There's nothing about.
And you were just like,
absolutely nothing about Metroid. I'm just like, do you even care? Do Do you guys even care? You just because they're just right now they're just giving Metroid out to other studios to handle.
The Federation Force ended up being really fun, but
it is fun. It is good, but I haven't really touched it in a while because I've been kind of busy. But,
yeah, we need to play again.
Yeah,
that was great. All right.
I can't beat this stupid fish. It keeps eating me.
Yeah, I got that. I handle it. But yeah, Nintendo needs to make some kind of announcement because everyone's like, oh, it's the announcement's going to be in September, and now they're like, oh, well, the announcement's going to be in October, and I'm like, literally at this point, every day they wait is making it that much worse.
Yeah,
it's getting to the point that the hype around it is too high. Any expectation, we have no clue what it is. So no matter what they announce, they can announce an absolutely fantastic system that does all this cool stuff. And at this point, it's still going to be a disappointment because it's just getting out of hand. They're thinking it's going to be even better doing all this stuff. I mean, there's some people already convinced it's going to have to be a portable system that hooks to your TV that is more powerful than a PlayStation 4 Pro and all this other stuff. And no matter what they do, unless they match that somehow or exceed it, people are going to be disappointed. So their secrecy and being so quiet is going to come back to bite them, honestly. I mean, I've already had more people tell me they're not going to get a Wii U or they're not going to get an NX because they're not normal gamers for all the stuff they play, but they're like, oh, well, Mario's going to be on iOS. I'll just get it on my iPad. Doesn't matter what kind it is. They know Mario's going to be there, so they're just going to switch to that. That's not drawing people towards their consoles. That's bleeding people off, which makes me wonder if they're trying to steer their market towards mobile because the console may be going away.
With the state of Japan right now, I would say that would probably be the case because mobile stuff in Japan is quite huge. As for, I don't know how, say, something like Breath of the Wild would be able to be played on a mobile platform, or...
It probably wouldn't. It might be one of those last Wii U games, or... I mean, we don't know. We've seen a lot of companies do weird stuff lately, so... I don't think they'll cancel Breath of the Wild, but the NX one, any part of the NX, I'm kind of hesitant about now.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo has been on the decline with the consoles in the recent years because...
Well, ever since Iwata died, they've kind of just taken everything he was building up and threw it out. Like, Directs used to be every month, and now it's maybe once a year, if we're lucky. Like, we have no idea. They keep making all these announcements without ever having a Direct. And they've had 3 announcements this year that I've had to question if they were even real. The Mini Nintendo, because it was just a press release. I thought it was a joke.
Right.
It took me a day before I realized it's an actual thing. The Galaxy 3DS, that was kind of weird. Like, they just threw it out. Even though they were going to have a Direct, they could have showed it off. So that led to more speculation when they did that. People were like, oh, we're going to get like Mario Galaxy on 3DS, which they could do for new 3DS. And, they've had some other stuff they did too, but, oh yeah, it was some of the cell phone stuff as well. I'm like, they need to have some way to do it. Either get up on a stage and say something or give us directs. But just releasing a press release, you're making it way too easy. Someone could just go and make a fake press release, manage to get it out to enough places, and have a whole bunch of false information about an NX just thrown out there. And people aren't going to know if it's real or not because,
Well.
All right.
So, moving on. Running line. I can't talk. Running line right along here. It's kind of dry. Jeremy, what's going on with the nerd vocab? What's up with that?
So the nerd vocab for this week is humanoid, having an appearance or character resembling that of a human, especially in science fiction, resembling a human in its shape.
Which is basically like all the aliens that you come across.
Well, it goes back to mythology and religion as well, with things like the golem and things like that, with a humanoid form acting in that shape. So, all right,
we got 2 little tidbits of video game news. Right now, the Tokyo Game Show is going on, so probably next week we'll have a lot more, because this is just kind of like the preliminary, but when like Monday comes around or Sunday, they're going to just be pumping out all the stuff. So, we'll get to something that was announced at Tokyo Game Show in a minute, like Monster Hunter, the movie was, for some reason. Sonic Mania's Collector Edition will not be coming to Europe.
Which is weird because this Genesis, or the Mega Drive over there, actually did really well. So you think they'd be like, hey, you were the market that supported us more than anybody back in the 90s. We're going to give you this great set. Nah, never mind.
I'm not quite sure what.
And he's standing on a Mega Drive. That's the funny thing.
I don't know why they region lock these things, like collector's editions and stuff like that. I'm like, why can't that doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know either, because it doesn't even come with it comes with a digital code for the game. There's no physical disc or anything. It's just a digital code.
I also don't see why they only have there's only 200 collector's editions we're getting. I'm like, why don't you just take orders and then make them after? Why you gotta? I know you're trying to drive sales and stuff like that, but what if,
I get paid once a month, so
what if I don't get paid? Yeah, what if I don't get paid but once a month, and I have to? Yeah,
I'm already like, I'm not gonna be able to get it because I'm not gonna get paid in time to do it. So,
but I don't. It's weird.
It looks interesting, but that collector's edition.
I can't wait for the new Sonic games to come out. I'm a Sonic nerd, so I don't do the art. I don't look
Supposedly one of them's on NX. They had to make their own logo because we didn't have anything.
It's like, well, we have the dev kit, but we don't know what...
If Nintendo would at least say what the name is, they could at least start putting that on some of the games or something, but... Yeah. Anyways.
Well, right. Digimon World Next Order was announced at Tokyo Game Show.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, Digimon World came out on PS4 last year.
Yeah.
I think. And it was met with pretty good reception. It was like... Somebody described it. Something like...
I know Rachel played the heck out of it.
Yeah, no, it was
and I poked fun of her about it.
It was very well received. So this is going to be the sequel to that, or at least the next thing
release
in the series.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a direct sequel or anything, because I don't know anything about the story. But
I know next to nothing about Digimon. That was just not my thing. I got Pokemon. I don't need the knockoff.
I have to get a PS4 so I can get these Digimon games and Kingdom Hearts and whatever.
Still want Kingdom Hearts on Xbox. I'm not happy about that.
Well, that was pretty much it for the video game news. I guess we'll chug right along into the technology news.
Yep.
Jeremy, what's going on with Netflix?
So Netflix has asked the U.S. Federal Communications Commission to declare that the home internet data caps are unreasonable and they limit customers' ability to watch online video. Netflix submitted a filing last week on the FCC's annual investigation of broadband deployment, a review that is mandated by Congress in Section 706 of the Telecommunications Act. Specifically, Congress requires the FCC to determine whether advanced telecommunications capability is being deployed to all Americans in a reasonable and timely fashion and take immediate action to accelerate deployment if it's not happening to the Commission's satisfaction.
So Netflix is fighting for your right to have internet equality.
Well, I mean, I have a few friends that they have internet caps on some of the stuff they have around here. They don't have a choice. And just having a PS4 and Xbox One has caused them to go over it. Because you've got, these stupidly limited caps, then you've got games that give you 30 gigabyte updates.
Right.
That you have to play your game, that download. So all of a sudden, they may buy a game digitally and then have to download this patch, and all of a sudden they're at or above their data cap. And I've had some, they bought a game and then had to wait till next month to download it because they didn't have enough left to do it without paying even more to get it. And that's not even counting them watching any movies or streaming any content. And some of the cable companies have been in a little bit of a mixed bag on that, where they're like, well, you can stream our content, but it doesn't count against your limit. So come watch our stuff, ignore theirs. And that's very disingenuous of how they're doing that, because it's not an even playing field. That's the whole point of net neutrality, where people can, a bit is a bit. It's not going to be treated differently if it's, Comcast bit versus Netflix bit. But they are doing that anyways. And this is exactly what people warned about for net neutrality when they tried to get rid of it. So, good job, people.
Yeah, pretty much. I honestly don't know why people want to control the internet, because it is such a big part of life. And
that's why.
Data is kind of important, because a lot of stuff is going towards the internet. And even like someone like me who doesn't even watch TV anymore, but I'll watch YouTube all day long.
Well, I do Netflix like crazy.
Yeah, or Netflix.
I'm one of those weird people. I still use a Kinect. and I will walk in, tell my Xbox to turn on, and tell it to go to Netflix. Just straight up.
You're such an old timer, Jeremy. Jeez.
with my
times.
So old with my advanced cameras that can see and hear what I'm doing as I tell it to do things. That's sad. All right.
So, humanoid robots still have problems staying upright, especially in tricky situations, but it's evident that they're making some progress. IHMC has posted a video showing Boston Dynamics Atlas robot balancing on one foot on the edge of a plywood board about 0.8 inches thick. So, usually if you walk up to a robot that's walking, you can just kind of push it over, and it's like, like a turtle.
Yeah.
Just like a turtle.
Except the turtle can get itself back up.
But, so, now they're working on dealing with that kind of issue and having them be able to stand back up.
Yes, I've worked with some of the systems on those for, working with robotics, but balance is a whole different thing of how to do it, because people don't understand your sense of balance is all by this super delicate system of a small bone and a hair in your ear. And you're just kind of like, wait, what? When you're walking and bouncing and moving around, all of that's being calculated by this one super tiny, simple thing in your head that is so hard to duplicate, to understand how it works correctly, to keep yourself on a level platform as you're going. And then also the ability not just to do that, because they can calculate, their location, but to anticipate as well. If you're trying to balance on something and you kind of can see what direction it's going to go or how it's going to work, you can anticipate that and adjust yourself accordingly. But for robotics, it's not that easy. They get simulation, then they act on it. By the time they do that, it's already changed.
Yeah.
So that's part of the trickiness of it. And this has been Robots with Jeremy.
So, what else is going on? What's
really weird one with Facebook?
Yeah.
And this is kind of this ties in with, Facebook. We'll just clarify now. Facebook has the right of what content they control on their site. That's their site. They're allowed to do it, just like Twitter is. Just if you control that network, that's your thing. But there's also a change where certain images have taken for historical documents are not PC, as they'll say. They're not going to be content people really want to see all the time, but it is a part of history. These things occur, these things happen. So this week, the world's largest social network banned an iconic photo taken during a napalm attack during the Vietnam War because it includes a naked 9-year-old girl. Facebook claimed the photo violated its ban on nudity and especially child nudity. When Norway's largest newspaper, Aftenposten, I'm guessing that's how it's pronounced. Sorry, Norway. Aftenposten. Reported the ban and included the photograph in its story. Facebook also banned the story.
I don't know how they would do that. It's a newspaper.
They didn't block the newspaper. They blocked their Facebook post of it.
Okay. I was like, how do they do that?
They can't. Yeah, Facebook can't ban the story outright. That they don't have that kind of pull. So the paper published an open letter to Mark Zuckerberg accused him of abusing his power. And then the Norwegian Prime Minister got involved. She tried to publish the photo to Facebook, accusing the company of censorship and curbing freedom of expression, and Facebook deleted it too. Facebook has since backpedaled and has since reinstated the photo. And it's one of those instances, there's a lot of photos in history of images you don't normally see publicly.
Like World War II images of the Holocaust and things like that.
Ones of the Holocaust.
When they went in, they took photos.
I remember pictures I saw as a kid my dad was a huge history buff for a lot of the stuff he had. So we had a lot of those like Time magazine collections of like stories and pictures from like World War II and all these different ones. And I remember seeing images that were pretty graphic. I mean, they were not edited for what they were. They were shown as the time. And while they were graphic to see, it gave me a better understanding of how that happened. Like there was one of a foreign soldier in a tank. They had firebombed the tank, and he couldn't get out in time. So you see this tank with his charred remains sticking out of it, trying to get out of the tank, and he had burned up. And I'm sure they would probably take that picture down if I tried to put it on Facebook, but it's also a point of history. It's showing, like this instance, war is not pretty for both sides. It's not...
Yeah, it's in Andersonville, which was a prison that they had up in Georgia, where they would put northern state kind of kept imprisonment, right?
Yeah.
But the conditions there were so bad that they could barely feed everybody, and so there's just like these people who are literally skin and bones, and their clothes just kind of
they're emaciated,
fall off, and they're just terrible looking. It was like, without those pictures, I wouldn't know how bad it was kind of back then.
And that's the thing, you have to be careful about. Like, I get that the policy they had that for. I understand, like, pictures of children and stuff like that. That's not good. But this is from a moment in history, and you have to kind of balance that out for how it is. It's not being used for that term, but you have to be careful scrubbing history, because that's how you forget things have happened, or you don't really get the weight of what happened. Same way you've got people that try and argue that, the Holocaust never happened. Like, we have all this evidence, and they try and scrub it out.
Yeah, I did. Who says that?
There's still groups that try and say the Earth is flat. Trust me. People can be stupid. Honestly, they can be naive and stupid, and scrubbing history from things helps them. I mean, it maintains their ability to keep that naivety about these things, which they really shouldn't. I mean, it happened. This is life. The Vietnam War was nasty for both sides. We did a lot of bad stuff. They did a lot of bad stuff to each other, to ourselves, and to everything. It was just bad. And it's one of those things that, we have to see it. We have to know of it, because when you just clean it away, you act like it never happened, and you're bound to do it again. So, as they, people that don't learn from history repeat it, are doomed to repeat it.
Yep.
So.
Well, we got 3 stories left. We're almost done with the show. We got to wrap everything up. So,
Twitter.
To the Twitterverse. Twitter's about to make a big change to the way that tweets work. We talked about this a couple episodes ago, or
I'm happy about this one.
Last time. The Verge can independently confirm, beginning September 19th, the company will cut down on exactly which types of content count towards the platform's 140 character limit. So, like videos and
pictures and things like that, no longer
URL. Yep. Maybe even the at whoever, because if you tag so many people in the photo, it's just going to eat up.
Yeah, it grows for how many it is. So I'm glad they're finally changing that, because I was trying to make a joke yesterday about the NX. I was talking to people and posted a picture of the Phantom console, which was the most perfectly named vaporware console in history. It's literally called the Phantom, and was basically that. But there was actually a picture of it. They made it. It just never got released out. So, I was making a joke that, hey, we know more about the Phantom than we do the NX. Within the time it was supposed to come out, we actually saw the system. We knew its name. We saw some of the things it could do. We knew more. And I had to keep finding ways to reword it and shorten it, because I was just at that limit, because the picture was there.
Yeah.
So I could have made my joke and put the picture if I just waited till the 19th. 3 more days.
3 more days.
All right. So
okay, you can go ahead if you want. Go.
All right. So the USB killer is a device designed for testing the surge protection of electronics to their limits and beyond. Which sounds like it's literally like you plug in these devices via USB, and they're going to surge it to see what happens with it. I mean, that's
pretty much, but it's all sold out. When I went to look at where they were selling it,
that's just weird.
It's all sold out. Yeah, it's a really odd piece of technology.
I guess it's just testing for what your devices can handle, like how much power, which I guess is kind of aptly fit for our last one. Do you want to talk about this one? It's a burning issue indeed.
Ooh. So, Consumer Reports is calling for an official recall of the Samsung's Galaxy Note 7 smartphone, following reports of some phones exploding while charging. Not too different from the little 2-wheel. They're not hoverboards. The little 2-wheel things.
Yeah, they call them hoverboards, and I hate that name.
The wheelie.
They're not really hoverboards.
They're not hoverboards, you weirdos. So, if you have a Galaxy Note 7, return it at once.
Don't charge it at night. Don't
charge it at all.
They've gotten to the point, like the FAA has banned them from airplanes.
Yeah,
you can't have them on while
flights.
Like,
no phones.
Yeah, you get that great battery life.
No.
Which sucks, because I've got my Galaxy S5 I've had for a while now, and we were looking to actually replace it with the Galaxy Note 7 right as they started exploding, and I was like, well, crap. Because of course, they announced the iOS, iOS 7 or whatever the iPhone 7, which I'm still not a big fan of Apple for the closed environment. I'm really not a fan of the fact they took the headphone jack out.
Really?
There's no headphone jack. You get to buy these $170 ugly wireless headphones that fit in your ear and stick out like a little bar. It's like you'd have a headphone. It looks like a headphone, like they cut the wire off. It just sits there. And they only have 5 hours of battery life. So you have to charge them, multiple, probably more than once a day to use them for stuff.
That just doesn't...
But
Why?
they come with a headphone adapter, but it plugs into the lightning port at the bottom. So you can choose, you can use your headphones, but you can't charge your phone. But this cuts out, all the companies like Square that does like payments and so forth, all the things that use the headphone jacks, infrared cameras, all this other stuff. Those can no longer work on iPhones. They might be able to work with that adapter, but then you can't have a battery with them while you're doing it. So if you're running your business off that, say you're at CreativeCon and you're ringing people up and using a card, which is how a lot of people pay for things now, you can't have like an external battery or plug it into a wall. You have to hope your phone holds out while you're doing this, or else you have to tell people, sorry, I can't take your card right now. I have to charge my phone and choose between your money or my phone. So
5-hour battery life just doesn't sound...
Well, it's kind of funny. People are just kind of like, I don't know if I want the iPhone, which has no headphone jack, or the Note 7, which might catch on fire. Like, that's actually an argument for people. Like, I could risk fire, but I get that headphone jack.
All right. Well, that'll be it here for today's show. Thank you so much for listening and or watching. And you can find us at Nerd Edification Hour on Facebook. And Strangely Entertaining is the YouTube channel that the show is uploaded. And the Twitter is at Nerd Edification. Jeremy, why don't you go ahead and do your stuff too?
You can find me at Zenspath, Zenspath on Twitter. We've actually brought back the Zenspath podcast. We've kind of had a resurgence on that. We started back on it in the break from here, 4 episodes. We have one talking about the NX, all of the information and stuff we know about it, which Caleb, you were on as well. We went back and talked about the original Nintendo. We talked about Metroid, which you were definitely involved with and continuously talking. A boy knows Metroid. It's scary. And lastly, we were talking about the original Xbox. And we're going to be coming back in the next week or so talking about stuff like the N64, the original PlayStation, going through different systems. And just as an extra thing, we're going to wait until episode 9, and that will be the Dreamcast one, just because of the 9999 joke. We've decided, no matter what, episode 9 is Dreamcast. But we decided to make a change on the show to make it more topic, like a particular topic to talk about, because it was becoming redundant to do stories, because we do that here. Yeah. And I like the Notification Hour, so I'm going to keep doing this for news and topics, and then we'll pick a particular topic and explore it over at Zenspath. I think it works out well. Yeah, you've had fun with it.
Yeah, yeah. When I can make it, that is.
Yeah, but we stream that live on Saturday afternoons usually when we do it. You can find that at the YouTube page, which is youtube.com/ZenspathCom. We're also Zenspath on Facebook, so you can find us on there as well. So,
all right, I'll be here for today. Thank you, and until next time, stay fancy.
Peace.